Today, we are going to the edge of the map, to the kind of places you see in movies, the ones that are completely and totally off limits to pretty much every single person on Earth.
I mean, think about it. We all have bucket lists, right? But what about the places you can't go? Not because you don't have the money or the time, but because you are just not allowed. Period. These are the spots locked away from all of us.
We're talking about everything from these massive military fortresses buried deep inside mountains, to brand new islands that are basically a living science experiment, all the way to holy sites where rules from 1,000 years ago are still the law of the land. So you ready to peek behind those no entry signs? Let's start with the secrets built by human hands.
Okay, first up, we're diving into the secrets built with steel and concrete. Places designed for survival, for spying, and for stealth, often hidden right under our noses.
So, picture the height of the Cold War. The US needed a command center that could take a direct hit from a nuclear bomb and keep on ticking. The solution? It was brilliant. Don't build it on a mountain, build it inside one. And that's exactly what they did with the Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado. And when I say inside, I mean way, way inside. We're talking nearly 2,000 feet of solid granite between you and the outside world. It was engineered to be one of the safest places on the entire planet if the absolute worst were to happen.
Now, to pull this off, they didn't just hollow out a big cave. Oh no, they built an entire city of 15 separate buildings inside the mountain. And get this, none of them even touch the rock. They're all sitting on top of more than 1,000 gigantic springs, like giant shock absorbers for a nuclear explosion. Of course, it's got its own power, its own water, crazy air filtration systems, and the whole thing is sealed behind these massive 25-ton blast doors.
This place was the nerve center for NORAD, the eyes watching the skies for Soviet missiles. And it was right here that a simple human error nearly kicked off World War III. Someone accidentally put in a simulation tape of a full-scale nuclear attack, and for a few minutes of pure terror, the people inside thought it was the real deal. Can you imagine the pressure of working there, where one little blip on a screen could mean the end of the world? Luckily, they figured it out just in time.
Okay, so from a fortress buried deep inside a mountain, let's head to one that's hiding in plain sight. If you were driving through the peaceful English countryside, you might see these weird, giant white golf balls. So what in the world are they hiding? Well, this is RAF Menwith Hill. And while it's technically a British Royal Air Force base, it's really run by the US National Security Agency. Those domes, they're protecting incredibly powerful antennas that are part of a massive global surveillance network called Echelon. Basically, this place is one of the world's biggest listening posts, intercepting communications and signals from all over the globe.
From listening to the world, let's go deep, deep beneath it. For decades, there have been these whispers, rumors of a secret parallel subway system running underneath Moscow. They call it Metro 2, and it was supposedly built back in Stalin's day just for the top brass.
So is it real? Well, officially, Russia has never confirmed it, but they've never denied it either. And the little breadcrumbs of evidence are just so compelling. Back in 1991, the U.S. Department of Defense actually published a map showing this secret network of shelters. There are declassified reports that talk about a deep subway line run by the KGB, complete with blast doors. Even some former Russian insiders have hinted that it's real. For now, though, it's still one of Moscow's deepest and most fascinating secrets.
All right, let's shift gears. We've seen what humans can lock away. But now we're going to look at places forbidden by forces much, much older than any government. Nature itself and centuries of unshakable faith.
Picture this. It's 1963, and off the coast of Iceland, a volcano erupts from the ocean floor. And just like that, a brand new island is born. They named it Surtsey. And this gave scientists a once-in-a-lifetime chance to watch life colonize a totally sterile piece of land, right from square one. And it happened fast. Just 2 years after it was born, the first complex plants started growing, and a whole new ecosystem began to take shape.
So to keep this incredible natural laboratory completely pure, Surtsey is one of the most restricted places on the planet. Only a tiny handful of scientists are allowed to set foot on it, and they have to follow these insanely strict rules to make sure they don't bring in any outside seeds or anything. There's actually a famous story where a tomato plant started growing because a scientist, well, let's just say some of their lunch got left behind. They had to remove it immediately.
So, from a place forbidden for the sake of science, we go to one forbidden for the sake of sanctity. This is Mount Athos in Greece, and it's basically a self-governing state run entirely by monks. And to them, this place is known as the Garden of the Virgin Mary.
For more than 1,000 years, life here has moved to the rhythm of ancient traditions. And there's one rule, one law above all others that has defined this sacred land, and it is absolute.
Getting in is extremely difficult. Only 100 Orthodox men and just 10 non-Orthodox men can get a permit to enter each day. But for over a millennium, women have been completely forbidden from setting foot on the entire peninsula. The tradition says that the land is dedicated solely to the Virgin Mary, making her the only female presence, which helps the monks maintain their vows.
And you might be thinking, well, that's just an old religious custom. Nope, it is legally binding. Mount Athos has this special autonomous status, which is recognized by both Greece and the European Union, that actually allows the monks to enforce their ancient rules of entry. It's the law.
For our last stop, we're going back in time, way back to ancient Turkey, to a place they believed was a literal doorway to the underworld, a real-world gate to hell.
So here's how the story went. The ancient Greeks and Romans saw that any animal, a bird, a bull, anything, that went near this one specific cave would just drop dead instantly. But the local priests, they could walk right in and come back out totally fine, claiming they were protected by the gods. So, when archaeologists rediscovered the site recently, they found the real secret. The cave is constantly leaking a thick, deadly cloud of carbon dioxide. The gas is heavier than air, so it forms a little toxic lake on the ground, killing the animals. But the priests, standing tall, could keep their heads up in the clean, breathable oxygen. So, from top-secret bunkers to pristine islands and holy mountains, these forbidden places actually tell us a lot about what we as humans value enough to lock away. It really all boils down to these three big ideas, right? Doors are locked to protect national security. They're locked to preserve once-in-a-lifetime scientific opportunities. And they're locked to honor centuries of sacred belief. Each one of these places is its own little world, walled off for a really powerful reason.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? In an age where we have satellites that can see everything, where we're all connected globally, why do so many of these locked doors and deep mysteries still exist? And maybe more importantly, what other secrets are still out there waiting behind them?